I'm sorry, if I was to watch TV day in, day out, the only perception that you can get today about Islam is a bad one. Somebody who loves Islam only through the media today, it's not normal. Because everything is just...
Today, I'm asking Professor Tariq Ramadan, why should Muslims participate in interfaith dialogue? To change the conversation from one of hate to one of peace. So given the challenging times Muslims are living in, how important is interfaith dialogue now? How important is it, Dr. Tariq Ramadan?
Look, it's the whole perspective and the whole vision that you are bringing now. It's true. What we see today, it's a very negative perception of Islam around the world because of some actions done by people who are doing them in the name of Islam. So we need to understand from our perspective as Muslims that it's very important now to enter into a dialogue with ourselves and with people of other faiths. And this is something that is from the very beginning prescription coming from the Quran. ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Meaning, you have to be in touch with people of the book first, of course, within the monotheistic tradition, to talk to Jews, to talk to Christians. And what you have to do is to do it with wisdom, meaning wisdom, it's your own wisdom. Be wise in the way you do it. It's the way you are going to talk to the people. It has to be with the best substance as to your message, and then in the best way. So the way you speak, what you say, the way you behave. This is central. It's وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. We made you tribes and nations in order for you to know each other. So the first dimension for us to know each other is not only to come with Islam and say, this is Islam, you have to listen to us. No. It's a way to get this intellectual humility, that you believe in God, that you think that you have, or you believe in the truth, but you have to listen to others. You have to learn from others. This humility, it's helping you to be at peace with your own self and at peace with the world, and to avoid something which is the first characteristic of a shaitan, is arrogance. Ana khairun, I am the best. And if you do this, you are following in the footsteps of people who are arrogant on earth, and you have to avoid that. So there is a process within the dialogue which is helping you to listen, helping you to learn from people, and to get this sense of humanity, that there is one humanity, a diversity of paths, a diversity of religions, one God, many ways.
Very interesting that you say humility, because you find a lot of Muslims think that because our religion is a complete religion, it's the final religion, it's the most perfect, there is nothing we can learn from other religions, for example, which is something that brings in a kind of an arrogance, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it's not because you are the final that you have nothing to learn from the first. Quite the opposite. You might have to learn from the first as much as a child has to learn from his parents. You have in history to learn from other religion in the way they can deal with their own references and the world around. So I would say that we need to be involved in interfaith dialogue. As an understanding, it's a process where you are learning from what you get from people. I can tell you my own experience. I went to South America, I went to India, I went to sit with even the Dalai Lama and with Christians that were the liberation theology, and I learned a lot about my own religion because I was listening to them, talking about justice, talking about love, talking about serving people. I said, wow, everything is there. So in fact, you come back to the Prophet ﷺ saying, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمِ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent to accomplish, meaning something was before me. So I'm just coming as the last one, but relying on what was before me. So learn from others. And by this process, you understand that you take from the people. So first you do it, not to impose your message, but sometimes to get a better understanding of your
own message.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the first point. And the second point there, it's also to let the people understand who you are. Because as a Muslim, you can't just, I'm sorry, if I was to watch TV day in, day out. The only perception that you can get today about Islam is a bad one. Somebody who loves Islam only through the media today, it's not normal. It's abnormal.
Right.
Because everything is just an attack on Islam and Muslims. And what some Muslims are doing, it's just unacceptable. So we need to respect the people and to respect their perception. Say, I can understand why you think this. Now, let us talk about not on, we should avoid being apologetic or on the defensive. Islam is not this, Islam is not that, we are not. No. These are our principles. These are our priorities. This is what we stand for. This is the way we look at things. Let us be involved in this discussion with people of other faiths, not by saying what Islam is not, but what are the main principles of Islam, what we are adding to the current discussion. And very often we are so scared, there is a lack of confidence. So you go for a dialogue by being confident, not by being scared. Because if you are scared, you are losing the whole point, or missing the point.
What do other religions have to gain from interfaith dialogue? I mean, I can see, for example, on a narrow level, in our contemporary world today, that Muslims could overcome or neutralize the negative views about Islam, right? But I have a feeling there is something much more than this. What do other religions have to gain from interfaith dialogue?
I think, once again, as I said, it's not only for us to overcome the negative perception. It's deeper than that. It's really to avoid this. I would say we should not be involved and because we are in a state of, for example, defensive or weakness. No, we have to go for it because we are learning. It's a learning process. We are sharing. And for other people of other faiths, what they can get from Islam, as we also see today, for example, in the West, but in Muslim majority countries, that the level of practice, it's the most practiced religion in the world. Why? Praying 5 times a day, fasting 1 month a year. So you have to learn. You also have to get something which is, how do you speak about God? How do you speak about yourself? What are your values? You always have to learn from others. So I would say from other religions, or people with no religion, or Buddhists, or agnostics, we need to get this, and they need to get this better understanding. So we might have to make them understand that they can gain something out of this dialogue. How? Not by being on the defensive, and once again, not as being apologetic. And this is why interfaith dialogue is also about being self-critical in the way we look at things. Islam is a great religion, but not all the Muslims are great. That's the point. So we also have to be self-critical and say, okay, look, let us talk also about what Muslims are doing. And once again, this is why, you were referring to these Muslims around the world that are criticizing and condemning what is done by ISIS and others. And this has to be done. But the best answer is not to sit down and to criticize them, is to stand up and to show the other image.
It was very interesting that you said Islam is the most practiced religion in the world, because in my conversation with some Christians, I think there's an admiration for Islam. Even amidst the negativity that some Muslims bring with them, there's an admiration about Islam because it has a certain level of self-confidence, and active practice in the face of an environment where churches are becoming more and more empty and people are becoming more and more secular, right? Would you say that, for example, there are certain common goals that Muslims and non-Muslims have from their religious communities have in terms of the growing secularization and polarization in religious communities between, for example, the youth moving away from the religions and the practitioners of the religions tend to become more and more narrow and more intolerant?
Yes, I think that there is a very important point that we have common challenges in our world today. Not only, by the way, in the West. In Muslim majority countries, it's exactly the same. If you look at the world culture, you look at the consumerist trends that we have everywhere. These are things that are important. And a secular mindset, which is confusing, being neutral as to religions are rejecting religions. And this is what we have.
Right.
And then also here we can see that we need to come together when it comes to education and spiritual education. The centrality of values and notions that are so important. One very important is family. If I'm told, oh, you know what, you are a conservative because you are celebrating family. Say, yes, I am a conservative. I want to protect family from this destruction that we have because this is the future. When it comes then about our spiritual education, the meaning of life, the way we'll deal with life and values and solidarity and love and all these values are common values that we have. And then we have to come together. So
to protect these values that are under siege, actually.
Exactly,
yes.
To protect them and to promote them and to stop this dialogue at the periphery of our religions to come at the center. So the spiritual center, the ethical center, this is where we are, for example, a very important notion that was everywhere in arts or in cultures or in religions or in philosophies, discipline. And it's as if today freedom is less discipline.
Right.
No, the true freedom comes after discipline, not
absolutely.
before, not without. It's a process that we have. So we come here with common challenges, common values first, common principles and common challenges. And we have to share. And this is where also we have to have within our secular societies or the secular trend around the world, religious voices, not against, atheism or against agnosticism, no, for something, to come for values, for solidarity, for dignity. And we have to make ourselves heard, for example, when it comes to 150,000 people being killed out of starvation every 2 days. Where are we? Where is this the world that we want?
Right.
Are we talking here about, no, Christian, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus, whoever, agnostic, atheist, they should come, and this interfaith dialogue, it's important. Now you said something that I wanted to add in this discussion, because as much as the people are, impressed by the fact that we are practicing more than other religions, and that's true when we can see the mosques around the world, and we can see also during Ramadan, we also have to be very careful about two things. The first one is the lack of interfaith, intra-faith dialogue, communication among Muslims. Look at what is going on around the world. This is something which is unacceptable for a Sunni as much as for a Shia, is the clashes that we have now. This lack of... And
we are a house divided.
Yes, exactly.
We are a house divided.
That's not acceptable.
So what are we bringing to the interfaith dialogue then?
Yes. Sometimes it's easier for me to speak to a non-Muslim than to speak within the Sunni with a literalist, a Salafi, than with another Muslim.
Right.
And sometimes it's more difficult to speak with a Shia and for the Shia to speak with me, and we are ready to speak to the world. To speak to the world and you don't speak to one another. Even we are questioning the Islamic dimension of my presence. Who are you to tell me that I am a Muslim or not? Shia and Sunni are Muslims. What we don't accept is that people are doing things in the name of Islam that are completely against our Islamic
Do you think this is a
principles.
priority then? It seems to me it's a priority. Not necessarily that it should take place on a temporal level before interfaith or interfaith dialogue. That we can have interfaith dialogue simultaneous with intra-faith dialogue. But do you think that the intra-faith dialogue is more important?
I think I wouldn't put it as more important, as you are saying. At the same time, we need to have these intra and faith dialogue. This is critical, and especially today. In one of my last books, I'm saying that one of the main challenges of Muslims in the coming years is this intra-faith dialogue. Why? Because we are surrounded by people and some powers. They are trying to find our points of weaknesses. And the point of weakness, the strongest one, is our division. So just push the Shia against the Sunni. Within the Sunni, the different trends, the literalists with the reformists, exactly the same within the Shia, and then let them fight. And if they fight, they're not going to resist. So we need to not only to be united against, the so-called West, but to come to principles on which we agree as Muslims, and this is important. At the same time, we have to bring about this dialogue with other religions, other faiths, other spiritualities, and it's helping us to be better ourselves. So it's a two-way process, a multiple dimension, which at the center we will find listen and talk.
What form should it take? Because it seems to be the form of both interfaith dialogue and intra-faith dialogue are starting to seem to be lacking in innovation, in the sense that they tend to take the form of conferences or seminars, and with the non-involvement of the masses of the people.
Yes.
So it takes place on a kind of an elitist level, but it does not filter down to the people. Do you have any idea as to how we could move this forward in terms of involving communities?
Yes.
As well as the elite?
I think it's a very important point. I have been involved in interfaith dialogue for almost 30 years. And I ended up writing a book about this, saying, look, I am now seeing people, there is a circle of elite people, they know each other, they don't even need interfaith dialogue, they know exactly what the other is going to say, and they meet everywhere around the world. But there is something which is wrong. First, they are not representing any community. They are doing it on their own. And in fact, it's the good consciousness disconnected from the ground. And I think that this is where we need to do it's not bad, but it's not enough. We need to have people who are connected with their communities, and then they bring back what they got from the dialogue to their community. So I have been doing this every time I'm involved in the discussion. Let us come back to the communities and to serve the community by the knowledge that you get in these circles. So, and this is where this connection, this educational process that we have with the communities, with the people, ordinary Muslims, ordinary people from other faiths, the connection, and not to have somebody who is representing the Muslims who never meet Muslims, representing the Christians who never meet Christians, and so what? And then we have to come to something which is connecting to the people. It's a long process, so reaching out, educating, all the social medias that we have now, use them, do this, and this is what I'm trying to do with so many people around the world, but it has to be institutionalized. It has to be a structure with people of other faiths, and also sometimes to do two things, is to be vocal when it comes to injustices, when it comes to things that we, sometimes I'm asking my Christian friends in Europe, why are you silent? Why are you silent, for example, when you have people being discriminated because of the way they dress? Why? Is it a competition, or are we working together for what is right? If it's a competition, forget about it. It's not going to work. It's together for what is right. I, as a Muslim, are going to speak out when Christians are discriminated in any Muslim countries, because this is against my own religion. So let us come together. So to be vocal sometimes, and once again, the central concept is courage with principles. But there is also something that we need to do, is to work together, to do things together. It's not only a dialogue around the table, it's on the ground. It's to come to the social justice, being involved with the way we are educating in education. Let us dialogue through projects and not only through words.
Projects, especially. I like that word, projects. I think it would be quite good to have, let's say, organized groups of Sunni communities coming to Karbala and participating in this. You see, I think Imam Hussein didn't die for just Shias. He died for all Muslims. And sacrificing himself for all Muslims. Recently they had a dialogue taking place in Birmingham in a Sunni mosque. I think as much Very, very, very nice, because it brings the community involved and so on. So in short, because you're running out of time, what are some of the important steps you think we should be taking now with respect to promoting intra and interfaith dialogue?
I think that there is first the commitment that we understand that we need this, that it's part of our way of being a Muslim or a way of being a human being. So this education towards this dialogue, and to come back to our scriptural sources, to the Prophet's life, ﷺ, and to understand that this is part of the process. The second is to be very careful not to let this process to be instrumentalized. So we have to be wise in the way we are going to open a wise dialogue. The environment should be neutral in a way, that we have to be very careful. It could be instrumentalized by power, by people. So to think about it, to take time to think about how are we going to do it, what are in which environment. And then to come to two things, which is reaching out, is this message that we are working together, and then projects that are visible. And this is something that as Muslims within, we need to come together to understand that we have much more in common than differences, and then also with people of other faiths. And I would say Muslims today should take the lead. They should take the lead for not waiting for the people to call them to dialogue, but to be the leader of this. Yes, in fact, dialogue is a way of resisting the way now people are dealing with others, is that they are scared of diversity. We have to celebrate diversity.
Thank you very much.
Wow, I really enjoyed every bit of this video. I enjoyed the conversation. I love how, mature the conversation was. And I learned so much more. And once I noticed that if we don't go through interfaith dialogue, how are we going to learn from each other's religion or maybe culture? It doesn't have to be religion per se. How are we going to learn from each other? Because we learn every day. So interfaith dialogue, I don't think is meant to bring down anybody's religion or bring you down. It's just meant for people to learn from you, get to know more about your religion. If you're a Christian, you learn from the Islam part. If you're a Muslim, you learn from the Christianity part. That's the major reason why it is important for people to go into interfaith dialogue. They have to have that conversation. Like the man said, that there are lots of things going on the media. If you are going to put your mind based on what the media says, you will get things totally wrong. Because if you don't have a conversation with the person, getting to understand their religion, you will think that is how their religion is. This person that have experienced it can able to tell you more about how things are than the other way around. A Muslim they are the ones that can tell you how their religion is. Because if you just pay attention to media, you get it totally wrong. And I love the fact that the man, made us understand so many things when it comes to having a conversation, with other religion, with other faiths. It was a very beautiful conversation. I really enjoyed every bit of this video. Let me know your point of view in the comment box, guys. Let's keep discussion going on in the comment box, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more. Like, share, and comment. See you guys in the next one. Stay blessed. Peace. Bye.